Hi, my name is Amr and I'm here to speak with you about the IELTS. We have many questions that are inside our minds about this test. So what is the IELTS and why should I have it? Why shall I go through the IELTS? From the beginning, you have to know that the IELTS is the International English Language Testing System. So it is international for every student around the world. Either is an English or native speaker, or a non-native speaker. So why do we need the IELTS? Actually, to know why do we need the IELTS, you have to know also the formats of the test. The IELTS consists of two types of tests. The general training modules, which is the GT, or the academic training modules with the AC. These are two different types of tests. The general training, for example, for the people who search for jobs or to live in another countries. Some people want to migrate to speak English speaking countries, so they have to take the GT also. But what about the academic test and why should we have it? Some people need to join universities, so they have to take the AC or the academic training module. What are the skills that the IELTS tests? Actually, the IELTS tests the four main skills of English, which are listening and reading, and they are receptive skills, and speaking and writing, which are the productive skills. These are the four skills that the IELTS tests, and we will speak more later today about them. What is the language that the IELTS tests? The IELTS tests the English or uses the English language, and it uses or it tests your English language proficiency. But what accents should I have the IELTS in? Will I find only British accent? Actually no. You will find the British, the American, the Australian, and even the New Zealand accents. But all of them will be comprehensible accents, so everybody will understand them. And also in our videos, go through the differences among these accents, just to know them when you hear or listen to somebody in the speaking test, for example, using any of these accents. Let's move to the next step, which is the test format. Here comes the part of the test format. As we spoke before, here we will find two versions of the test: the general training modules and the academic training modules. In both of them, you will find that we have four sections: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. In the listening, they are all the same in both versions. The listening here will last for 30 minutes, and it consists of four parts, moving from easy to hard. And also here, the listening is 30 minutes that consists of four parts that move on from easy to hard, from easy to more difficult. So it is known that the fourth part in each of the two listening tasks here and there are the most difficult. Then comes the reading section. In the reading section comes the difference between the general training and the academic. In the general training, as you see, you will have 60 minutes in both of them. But actually the three passages here are totally different from the three passages there. How? The three passages in the general training are based on the material that candidates would be expected to know or to have on daily basis in English speaking countries. Like, for example, the tests are based on materials from newspapers, advertisements, manuals, books that are generally speaking about the things that you can see every day. You will find that the three passages here depend on social or work issues, but the last one will be about an academic issue. The longer text is the last one, and it is an academic one. It mostly speaks about science. You will find here that the reading passages are moving also from easy to hard. So don't waste time in the first text and keep the most time for the last one. And don't forget that you will have to transfer your answers from the question sheet onto the answer sheet. So the 1 hour also includes transferring your answer from the question sheet onto the answer sheet. The reading passages in the academic are all academic, and one of them will be a longer text that depends on an argument. So here the longer text will be a kind of descriptive text, while here all of them are academic and the longer text will be a kind of argumentative text. The texts here are somehow more difficult than the text in the general training. So in the academic you have to focus because the texts are based on material that are for non-specialist audience. Mostly they are all about science. So you have to read more and more. The third part of the IELTS test. In the general training, the academic, the third part is writing. And also writing in the general training differs from writing in the academic, like reading. Writing lasts for 60 minutes in both of them, but the tasks are different. You will find that the first task in the general training is to write a letter of around 150 words. And in this letter you are either asking for information or explaining a situation. But here, writing in the academic test asks you in the first task to write a report which based on a table, a diagram, or a graph. You are expected to write a kind of description to the material or the details or the information mentioned in this table, this diagram, or this graph. It asks you also to write about 150 words at least in 20 minutes. But what about the second task here and there? The second task here and there is exactly the same, because it asks you to use genres like problem solving, advantages and disadvantages, cause and effect, or giving opinion. The candidate is expected to write in response of a given topic or a given prompt. In the writing second task, you will write about 250 words in 40 minutes. And you are expected to use appropriate tone and register. After writing comes the last section of the test. In some centers you can take the speaking section, which is the last, in other days, in the same week of the test. But in Egypt you will have it in the same day at the end. Speaking lasts from 11 to 15 minutes. And it is a face-to-face interview. In this interview, you will have three parts. The first part is a kind of a personal part, and then move to general question that somehow relates to the most general one in the third part. Sometimes the third part and the second part are connected together, or relate to the same issue or topic or problem. Anyway, you have to put in your mind that you have to speak using also appropriate tone and register, using variety of vocabulary. Don't think of the accent so much, because everybody of us has a kind of an accent, but think of how to be fluent in this section. Here comes the end of our lesson today. We spoke about the IELTS and the different types of tests. We spoke also about the general training and the academic test for maths. That's all for today's lesson. Wait for me in another lesson speaking about the IELTS. I want you also to look in the attached file because I attached the plan of how to study for IELTS in 1 month. Thank you. I'm Rasmus.